Hi, this is SJ Talks and Life coming back at you in another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. Yes, definitely hit that subscribe button. Even if you don't watch my channel all the time, go ahead and hit it. Um, I want to get up to 100,000 subscribers. I want to get that plaque. I want to get that plaque. I want to get that plaque. So help a sister out. Help a sister out. Okay, you guys like my hats? I got this at Santa Monica Pier when I went to Los Angeles. Or I went to Santa Monica, which is just outside of Los Angeles. And I went to Santa Monica Pier and I got this hat on Santa Monica Pier. It's like Santa Monica Pier it's like a little, it has like a little small amusement park, and it has eateries and things like that. And it's right by the ocean. It's like right next to the ocean. It's in Santa Monica, and it's right next to the ocean. If you watch the Kardashians or some of these other shows, sometimes they'll show a shot of it, like, or some of these movies. Some movies, if you watch some movies, or if you've never been to LA, or if you watch the Kardashians, always get a shot of it. They always get a shot of it because it's right next to the ocean. Santa Monica Pier. That's where I got this hat. So, remind me one of those. It has a little. That's really how it looks, and it has a little bow tie in the back. It looked like one of those sombrero. What they call it, sombreros? It's little Mexican sombreros. Anywho, Cassie Ventura come out with a statement regarding the video footage of I don't even want to say his name, that beast that was being abusive towards her at the hotel, Intercontinental Hotel. That beast that was beating on her. She come out with a statement, and she said something to the effect that she's working on healing. She's working on her healing process. It changed who she was, and everything. And she's still working on her healing. And she said that people need to start believing victims the first time. That people need to believe the victims the first time, basically, is what she said. It's been all over YouTube, and I think it's on Instagram and stuff like that. So, and yes, I agree 100%. People need to start believing the victims the first time. I never doubted her. And this is a common thing with women. When women are being abused, all women of all races, but particularly black women, people don't want to believe us. Women get blamed. Women get blamed for the abuse. If a woman is violated, she gets blamed for it. People start asking her what she had on and all that stuff. And if a woman is in an abusive type relationship, well, why did you stay with him, or why did you get with him? And women get asked all these questions as to why, and nobody wants to believe this misogynistic, sexist country world that we live in. Women, this is the reason why a lot of women don't really want to come forth. A lot of women don't really, do you know that a lot of violations are not reported? A lot of violations, when a woman gets violated, a lot of times it's not reported because the woman feels like nobody's gonna believe her. She feels like it's like she emotionally gets violated all over again because she's being questioned and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of times women don't want to report abuse. They don't want to report getting violated and stuff like that. I've had things happen to me. I still don't talk about it. I still don't talk about it. I'll probably 9 times out of 10 will never talk about it on here. I've had things happen to me that I'll never really talk about it. I don't talk about it because women are not heard, particularly black women. We're not heard, and nobody wants to believe us, or and then we get questioned. It's like, look at all the questions that came up, when the footage, the video footage surfaced. Well, why did she stay with him and all this kind of stuff? And this, I'm about to go into that here in a minute, and stuff like that. And this is the reason why a lot of women don't want to talk about it. A lot of women don't. It's like you're already traumatized, but then you're going through further trauma when people are asking you those questions. It's like, why did you stay and all this kind of stuff. And you're being blamed for the abuse and stuff, particularly black women. It's like people don't see black women as victims. It's like they don't see us as victims. It's like, I don't know if it's because of historically, back from what happened back in slavery, or I don't know. But it's like black women are not really heard in that aspect, and it's really, this country has a long way to go in that aspect. But I think all women across the board, but particularly black women, it's particularly hard for black women to be heard in that respect, as far as abuse and being violated and things like that. Being violated as a child. It was, I was listening to this lady on Facebook. She was telling a story about how she kept getting violated. She kept being violated, and they moved her to another family member's house, and she got violated there. She got violated in foster. I mean, it was like she kept getting violated, and nobody would listen to her. She tried telling her grandmother. Her grandmother didn't want to believe her. Her mother didn't believe her. And this happens in all races, but it really happens in black. It happens in all races across the board, really, where if a child is saying, look, I'm being abused, I'm being violated, and nobody wants to believe it. They wants to cover it up, sweep it under the carpet. And this story that this lady was telling was a black lady. It was terrible. And she said she finally broke down and went to school one day and broke down and told the teacher what was happening to her. And finally somebody believed her, and then they took her and put her in foster care. And I can't remember if she got further abused, but the courage the courage of this lady that she had. And it was just sad, because people just kept violating her throughout her whole childhood, and her mother dismissed her. That's the worst thing you can do. Her grandmother just, what I'm saying? Your mother's supposed to protect you. Your mother's the number one person that's supposed to protect her, but her mother kept dismissing her, and it's like, it's a shame. And so that's why a lot of women don't want to come forth. A lot of women don't want to come forth and report things, and they're scared to report things and things like that, because women are not being heard. Particularly black women, we're not being heard, and then we get victimized mentally and emotionally all over again. It's really sad. We've got a long ways to go in that aspect in this country, and I can definitely understand why she took so long. But I'm about to explain to you, because people were saying, well, people can clearly see that footage. I was reading in some of these blogs and videos in the comment sections, and they were saying, well, why did she stay? And I wrote, and some other people wrote, did you not see the footage? Did you not see that video? What part of that didn't you understand? It looks like she was trying to run away from him. Looks like she was trying to run away from the man. It looks like that's in fact what she was trying to do. And so that's why the one video that I did, I titled it Proof That Cassie Did Try to Escape. She tried to leave, because that's what she tried to do. Now just imagine how many other times she tried to leave this man. Could you only imagine all the other times she tried to leave? Now that's what I'm about to explain to you. When you're dealing with somebody, and it's being talked about all over YouTube, and people are trying to explain that, and it's like some people are slow and they're not connecting the dots, or they just don't want to connect the dots because she's a woman, because she's a black woman, a woman of color. They don't want to connect the dots, and they don't want to. Some people maybe just simply don't want to understand, or some people maybe they're just slow. I don't know what the situation is, but just ignorance, just complete ignorance. Now, when I explained this in another video, and I'm gonna try to link that video up to this one, where I'm talking about when you're dealing with someone of Diddy Sean Combs stature. He's very rich man. He's at billionaire. Well, he may not be a billionaire status anymore, but he's about a billionaire. Let's be safe to say that he hit billionaire status. He had that much money. Do you know how much money $1 billion is? He hit billionaire status, and that's very difficult for a black man to do. He's one of the rare black men in this country that hit billionaire status. So he's very rich, very famous, and very powerful. So when you get to that level and you have that kind of money, you will be amazed at what people can do and the type of strings that they can pull with that type of money. When you're dealing with somebody with that type of money, you will be amazed they have an extreme amount of power. Should they have that kind of power? No. Doesn't matter what kind of money you got, should now, but they do. That's the way of the world. They have lots of power with that kind of money, and he's famous on top of that. So when you're dealing with someone of that stature that has that kind of money and that kind of fame, if you somehow find yourself in his circle, whether you're dating him or a staff member or whatever, now you got bodyguards and hairdressers coming forth and saying, okay, yeah, I knew that Cassie was being abused, but they ain't do nothing about it. They would just tried to protect her or whatever, or try to help her. They said they would try to help her and talk to her, but did they try to stop? I guess there's only so much you can do. But when you're dealing with someone of that much money and power, they can pull a lot of strings. They can send somebody to unalive you. They can pay someone to come and unalive you. Okay, when you're dealing with somebody with that type of money and power, and people will do just about anything for money nowadays. The Bible says, for the love, one of the most misquoted scriptures in the Bible, for the love of money is the root of all evil. It's for the people say it's money. That's one of the most misquoted scriptures in the Bible. No, it's not money. Money in itself is not evil. Money can do a lot of good things, but it's the love of money. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. It's people's love of money that's the root of all evil. And a lot of these people will do just about anything for money. With giving enough money, they will do just about anything, and are willing to unalive someone for. Well, you give a crackhead about $5, they're probably unalive somebody. I hate to say that, but at that level, just like that video footage, the hotel manager, he gave the hotel manager $50,000. He took the $50,000 and he hid the footage. This happened back in 2016. This is 2024 now. It's just now surfacing. We don't know how it got in CNN's hands. We don't know what happened. Somehow the video wound up getting surfaced. But the fact that this manager covered this up, they seen this instead of reporting it to the police. They took $50,000 from him and they covered it up. You see what I'm saying? People will do anything for money, and when you got that kind of power and money, that person he could pay somebody to come and beat you up. He could pay somebody to come and unalive you. Okay, so even if she tried to leave other times, I imagine he probably threatened her. He probably threatened to send somebody after her. Oh, I will find you. He probably threatened her, so she stayed out of fear. Well, she was liking the money and the fame and all that, but she's probably stayed out of fear. Somebody said it helped her get out of that contract. One of her friends, I guess, was speaking, and helped her get out of the contract. Um, Something red. This is sexy red, something like that. She got red hair. Anyway, it was a friend of hers. She said, I was looking at an interview of hers. She said she helped her get out of the. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I'm thinking right. Said she helped her get out of that contract with Bad Boy Records. She helped her get out of that contract. So she wanted out of the contract. Okay, she wanted out of that contract, and so she probably stayed out of fear. 9 times out of 10, someone as rich and powerful as Sean Combs, he probably threatened her. Everybody knows he was, all this stuff is coming out. More victims are coming out, filing lawsuits and things like that. So 9 times out of 10, she probably stayed out of fear. She stayed out of fear dealing with a man of that stature. She stayed out of fear. You know, she thought that he was gonna unalive her, or he was gonna get beat. So she complied. She complied until she was able. Until she got to a point. Now she broke up with him in 2019. Until she got to the point to where she could make a clean break. Okay, she got to a place where she could make a clean break. Then she had that window of opportunity came for her, and she took it. But these people keep asking this question, why did she stay? Well, when you're dealing with somebody of that, if you somehow, and I explained it in that other video that I was talking about more of his victims coming forward, I broke it down in that video. If you somehow find yourself in his circle, whether you're working with him or dating him or whatever, unless you're an extremely, like Jennifer Lopez dated him, but she was already really famous when she was dating him. So it's a little hard when you got two powerful people together like that, it's a little difficult to break this person down and shake this person down like that, because, she was just almost about this as famous as he was. So she was able to go on and bounce. Plus she had people around her that was protecting her. So that makes a difference. But Cassie, when she met him, didn't nobody know her. She basically, essentially, well, as they say in show business, a nobody. She was an unknown. She's relatively unknown when she met him. She met him at 19, and she was relatively unknown. So he can exert that kind of power with not a lot of protection and everything around her. He could exert that kind of power. Okay, so you're not just dealing with the everyday average Joe Blow, and even the everyday average Joe Blow can come after you. I mean, we've heard so many. We hear them on the news daily, almost daily, of women being unalived by their husband, their mate. And the women, how many of those stories that the women tried to leave? They tried to leave, and then he came after them. That's why we have women's shelters. Right here in my city, we have a women's abuse shelter. Right here in my city. I had a friend that had to go stay at one because her boyfriend, or baby daddy, it was actually her baby daddy, was abusing her. Okay, she had to go stay at this domestic violence shelter for a time. And she stayed with me for a little short period of time too. So we have one right here in my city. They're just about in every city. And sometimes they're undercover because they have to be undercover because, of course, obviously the man can't know about the place, because if he knows about the place and he knows that's where you're at, then they'll come after you. So they have them in just about every city, domestic violence shelters, but they're on the low, and you have to go through. Maybe if you go to a counselor or something like that, then the counselor can kind of, the counselor the therapists and counselors and things like that, or law enforcement may know about these homes in different cities, but it's on the low low, because if the man finds out where it's at, of course he's gonna come after you. That's why they keep it on the low low. But we have a domestic violence shelter here in my city, okay? So because it's very, very difficult for women to leave. Even the average everyday Joe Blow can come after you. And if the woman is poor, she has limited resources. Okay, she may not be able to. That's why you have the when you go to the domestic violence shelter, or you go to the police or something like that, or a counselor or something like that in your city, and you say, okay, I need to get out of town. Then they may help you. They may give you the resources to get on a bus or something like that. A woman has to go through certain channels to get that assistance to leave, and it's got to be a low low. It's got to be on the low low. It's got to be on the low low, because so even the every average day woman, that's not at that level, has a difficult time leaving her mate, leaving an abusive type of situation. It's very difficult. I know for a fact. I know this for a fact, that it's very, very, very hard for a woman to leave that situation. A woman tries to leave, the man comes after her. I know it for a fact. The man comes after her. Okay? So it's not, I'm sick and tired of people saying, why didn't she leave? I'm so sick and tired of women saying that. It's very difficult for a woman to leave. And when you're dealing with a man with that kind of money and that kind of power, he can pull some strings. And you got these people out here, they're yes people. When you get to that level, you got a lot of yes people around you. You got a lot of yes people around you. You got that kind of money. And you got people that will do just about anything, even if it includes beating someone up or unaliving someone for a certain amount of money. They'll do it for the money. They'll do it for the money. You got some cold-hearted, greedy people in this world that will do anything. Now, will I do anything for money? No. No. Absolutely not. Maybe you wouldn't either. But you got a lot of people out here that would. You got a lot of people out here that are willing to take a certain amount of money to do certain things, especially at that level. And so that's why she stayed. She stayed out of fear. She stayed out of fear. And when you look at some of the pictures of them, if you look in her eyes, I can read people's eyes. And when you look in her eyes, she might be smiling, but in a lot of those pictures, you see fear in her eyes. I can see it in her eyes. When you really look in her eyes in a lot of those pictures, and there's a lot of pictures of those two together, you can see the fear in her eyes, And so just imagine how scared she was and how afraid she was. Just imagine that. I look at that footage, I just wanted to cry. She tried to run away from him. She tried to get away from him, bless her heart. She tried to get away. And he come after her. So I can only think at that moment, how many other times did she try to get away from this man? How many other times did she try to escape from this man? And he came after her. Or he sent his goons after her. Or he threatened to send his goons after her. But I think somebody did say that he sent somebody to go get her. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I did see, I've been watching a lot of interviews and stuff like that, and I think that somebody did say that he sent somebody to come get her. Yes. He sent somebody to come. Oh my goodness. I think I just had a mosquito on me. He sent somebody to come get her. He sent his goons after her. And so just imagine how many times he threatened her and say, if you leave, I'm going to send somebody to come get you. probably threatened to unalive her. This one man that filed a lawsuit said that he threatened his own mama. He threatened, allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly. He allegedly threatened to do something to his own mama. If I'm gonna do it to my mama, what you think I'm gonna do to you? That's what he told the man, allegedly. That's what the man put in his lawsuit. His own mama. I ain't saying he slapped his own mama, allegedly. Now this man don't even have no respect for his mother. He don't have no respect for his mama. The woman that gave him life, the woman that brought him into this world, he don't have no respect for his mama. He don't care nothing about his mother. He don't care nothing about nobody. Nobody. Now, he can blame it on the drugs. There's a dark side to him. Drugs only bring out what's naturally in you. Yeah, drugs basically, I dealt with somebody on drugs firsthand. Firsthand. I dealt with somebody on drugs firsthand. I got an opportunity to see how someone on drugs operates and how they think. Drugs bring out what's naturally in you. Whatever's naturally in you, those drugs will bring it out, will highlight it even more. So if you're naturally an evil person, you naturally have those things in your heart, drugs will bring it out more. Drugs brings it out more. Trust and believe what I'm saying. So he can sit there and blame it on the drugs. But there is a part of you, Sean Combs, that's dark like that. That's got a cold heart. That wants to do bad things to people and things like that. That's in you. It's already in you. And the drugs basically just brought it out even more. So you can blame it on drugs all you want. That was already in you. It was already in you. Okay? The drugs just highlighted it even more. Or if you're alcoholic or whatever, they say a drunk will tell the truth. Alcohol is like a truth serum. Yeah. It brings out what's already in you. It brings it out even more. So he can blame the drugs all he wants. It's excuses. And if you had such a big problem, you should have got some help. So we live in a society that likes to protect it, particularly in the black community. The black community always wants to make excuses for the men and protect the men, but blame the women. Blame the women. Puts down the women. Holds the women accountable. They like to hold the women accountable, particularly in the black community. But they make excuses for the men. They coddle the men and they make excuses for the men. But they hold the women accountable and they place harsh judgment on the women in the community. The black community is terrible with that. And it needs to stop. Because they talk about women choosing better, and I did a video talking about that. We need to normalize telling men to be better. We need to tell men to be better. Because when you say that, you're excusing the man's actions. You're excusing his actions. You're not holding, when you say things like that, you're not holding men accountable. And they need to be held accountable for what they do. They need to be held accountable. And he needs to be held accountable for what he did. He needs, if not legally, financially, morally, whatever. He needs to be held accountable for what he did. And that's the reason why they say, that's another thing. They said, why did Cassie take the settlement? Because At that particular time, she could not go to the police. Once again, like I said before, we're dealing with a man with a lot of fame and lots of money. So he has a lot of power. So she felt like at that particular time she could not go to the police out of fear of what he may do to her. She felt like she couldn't go to the police. And she felt like that she couldn't report it. And she couldn't come out with it. Of course, the statutes of limitation had already passed on 2016 and all the years that he abused her. So it was too late for her to go to the police. And they have a law in California where you can file a civil suit against someone that does something to you. She finally mustered up enough courage to go ahead and file the civil suit. She probably feels like she's in a safe place in her life to where she could, at this point, hold him accountable and file this civil suit. I think $30 million is not enough in this economy. He should have paid her more. Because um, Jaguar Wright, I just watched another video that she did on Real Life Productions. I think that's the channel, Real Life Productions. And I was just watching this morning. She did another interview and she was saying, she was talking about the trauma. She was talking about the trauma. She's going to spend the rest of her life trying to recover from this. It's going to be a lifelong. He should be made to pay her medical bills. She was talking about therapy and how much it costs. And, these victims, not Cassie and his other victims, they're going to it's going to take a lifetime for them to heal from this. She's going to be working on this for the rest of her life. So he should be made to pay her medical bills. And she was, Jaguar Wright was also talking about the physical, that, all getting knocked upside the head could affect her mentally, on down the road, any other physical damage that he done. Because sometimes, like, I think, when stuff happens to you when you're young, because of the fact that you're so young, your body is still strong. But then as you get older, that stuff takes effect as you get older. See? And we don't know what's going to happen to her on down the road. She may have some memory problems, from getting knocked upside the head so many times. She may wind up having memory problems. She may wind up having some physical problems, arthritis or something like that later on in life as a result of all the beatings. Okay, so not only is she got to deal with the emotional after effects, the mental after effects, but she's might have to deal with the physical after effects that this done to her on her body. So this is going to take, like I said, this is going to take the rest of her life. This is going to take the rest of her life. He should be made to pay her medical bills for life. Okay. He needs to pay her more money. $30 million in my book wasn't enough. She may never be able to work again because she got out of that record contract. So as you can see, she ain't really been doing too much. So she may not be able to mentally concentrate enough to really work again. She may not even want to be in the industry anymore. She may not have any more desire to even be in the entertainment industry after what happened to her, as well as the other victims. We don't know, and that's what Jaguar Wright was making some interesting points on that. We don't know the after effects that these victims are going to have to endure years and years and years on down the road because of this. If everything was as horrific as she described in those court documents, it's going to take years. It's going to take years for her to heal from this. It's going to take years. She may be struggling with this for the rest of her life. For the rest of her life. And Jaguar also made an excellent point. She talked about her husband. Just imagine what her husband has to endure. because her husband, he's married to her, so he has to deal with that as well. He's got to, I just hope that he's a very patient and understanding man. I just hope that he seemed like he's a good guy. I just hope that he's very, very patient with her, very loving, caring, and very patient with her, because he's gonna have to be, because this is gonna affect her. This is gonna affect her for the rest of her life. She's gonna have to be going to therapy. This is gonna affect her for the rest of her life. Bless her heart, as well as his other victims. And that's why, yes, he does need to compensate him, or compensate them. He needs to compensate them. But he need to be paying her medical bills for the rest of her life. You better be glad I'm not a lawyer. hmm I thought about it. Matter of fact, I thought about going, but I don't know. I'm in my mid-50s. It's never too late. Never too late. Never too late. It's never too late. It'll take a lot of time and money, and that's something that I don't have a lot of. But trust me, I did think about it. I thought about either going into employment law or civil rights, either civil rights attorney or employment law. Because boy, I'd be nailing them folks to the wall. I'd be nailing them folks to the wall. I be civil rights attorney is good, because when you're dealing with police brutality cases and things like that, yeah, I be nailing them people to the wall. I be nailing them to the wall. So I really actually wouldn't mind being a lawyer, because I'd be nailing folks to the wall. Okay. Like I said, I don't have the money or the time, but if I did, it ain't never too late. But what's that guy's name? I can't think of his name right now. That black lawyer that every time a black man get abused by the police, get unalived by the police and everything, here he come. Yeah, I'd be the female version of that. Yeah, and I would be a big advocate for women's rights. I would be definitely taking on a lot of women clients that's been abused. Yes, yes, definitely, most definitely. But that's what I'm saying. It's gonna take a long time, though. It's gonna take a long time for her to get over this. $30 million to me is not enough money. It's not enough money. She may not be able to work for the rest of her life. In this economy, everything is so expensive. She's got 2 kids. Everything is expensive. Plus she's gonna need medical care. She's gonna need therapy. He ought to be made to cough up more money. You know. But his other victims need to be compensated as well, because he's got some male victims in there too. It was the woman that came forth, this white woman, said he did some horrific things to her. This man is a piece of work. That's why they raided his homes. Because they figured where there's smoke, there's fire. That's why they raided his homes. Because they figured where there's smoke, there's fire. Because all these people coming up with these lawsuits. And ain't no telling what kind of evidence they got on the man. I just want him to be held accountable. I just want him to be held accountable. I want him to have some accountability. I want him to be held legally accountable for what he's done to these people. But I just wanted to break that down. I wanted to explain. That's why she took the money. Because people are saying, oh, she took the settlement. And that was the only way she could hold him accountable. because legally she didn't feel like she had enough protection before to hold him legally accountable. She was too scared. Like I said, we're dealing with a man with a lot of power and a lot of money, a lot of fame. She couldn't, she felt like she couldn't hold him accountable legally at that particular time. And now she feels like she's in a safe place in her life where she can hold him, because the statute of limitations is worn out on the criminal situation. So that's the only way that California has a law that says you can file a civil suit. Okay? So I just want to, I'm sick of people saying that. I'm over it. Ain't nobody saying that to that man. It's a black man that filed a, they've been talking about that too. Ain't nobody saying that to him. Nobody's saying that those things to him. They probably feel more sorry for him than they do her. See, nobody says these things to men. They always say it to women. We live in such a misogynistic country, world, sexist and misogynistic world. I'm sick of it. I'm over it. It's rough being a woman. We got a long ways to go in this country. Women's rights, particularly black women's rights. We need more protection for black women and children. We got a long ways to go. We got a long ways to go. But anywho, hit me up in that comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think that Sean Combs should pay Cassie more money, and he should be made to pay her medical bills and properly compensate the other victims as well? Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. And hit that subscribe button. Like I said, help me get up to that 100K. Hit that like button, because when you hit that like button, that pushes that algorithm right on up there. I'm getting some good numbers on my videos, guys. Thank you. I'm getting some good numbers on my videos. So go ahead and hit that like button. Get that algorithm right on up there. And hit the share button. Share this video if you can. Think about what I said. Marinate and meditate on what I said. And until the next video, you guys be blessed.